Did you know most people who die in a heat wave do not die outside in the sun, but inside their own homes, right in front of a running fan? Last month, a single heat wave killed 1,000 people in France in just 3 days, and 85% of them were over 65. Somewhere after age 60, the body silently loses its ability to cool itself down, and nobody warns us. Today, you will learn the 5 dangerous mistakes that turn ordinary hot weather into a life-threatening medical emergency. To survive extreme heat, you must understand how the human body regulates its internal temperature. When environmental temperatures rise, your heart beats faster to pump blood toward the surface of your skin, where heat escapes into the surrounding air. At the same time, your sweat glands activate, and as that sweat evaporates, it cools your body down. This natural cooling mechanism works perfectly in your youth, but after age 60, the biological system weakens across 3 distinct fronts. First, older adults produce less sweat and start sweating much later than younger people, closing off the primary pathway for dumping heat. Second, the brain signals that trigger the sensation of thirst and temperature changes dull over time, meaning your internal body temperature can skyrocket without you ever feeling parched or uncomfortable. Third, an aging heart faces a much harder time pumping blood to the skin, especially if it is already managing high blood pressure or cardiovascular disease. This is not a sign of frailty, it is standard human biology that impacts strong, active adults. Environmental factors also dictate how dangerous a hot day truly becomes, and standard forecasts often hide the real danger. Your body relies heavily on sweat evaporation to cool down, but when the air is thick with humidity, sweat cannot evaporate into the atmosphere. Instead, it drips off uselessly, trapping intense heat inside your core. This is why a 90-degree day in a dry desert feels completely different from a 90-degree day in a humid climate. Always monitor the heat index, the actual temperature it feels like once humidity is factored in, and enable local weather alerts on your phone to avoid being caught off guard. The first major mistake is relying entirely on an electric fan to keep you safe during extreme heat. Most people grew up believing that moving air equals safety, and in mild heat, fans do help by accelerating sweat evaporation. However, public health agencies like the CDC warn that when indoor temperatures climb into the mid to high 90s, a fan stops protecting you and starts causing harm. When the air inside a room becomes hotter than your skin, a fan acts exactly like a convection oven, blowing scorching air directly across your body and forcing your core temperature upward. The moving air creates a deceptive breeze that fools your brain into feeling cooler, right up until the moment your organs begin to overheat. This illusion is exactly why so many heat victims are discovered unconscious in warm rooms with their fans still running. An electric fan alone is completely insufficient defense during dangerous heat spells. Air conditioning is the single most effective tool for lowering your health risk, and spending even a few hours a day in cool air resets your internal temperature. If you have an AC unit, run it without worrying about the utility bill on peak heat days. If you lack home AC, spend the hottest hours of the day in air-conditioned public spaces like libraries, shopping malls, cooling centers, or a neighbor's house. If you must use a fan, mist your skin with water or place a damp cloth on your neck to give the air current something to evaporate. Taking a cool shower or bath is the fastest way to drop your core temperature instantly. The second mistake is failing to account for how everyday prescription medications interfere with your body's natural cooling mechanisms. This risk accelerates after age 60, when many adults take daily medications for chronic conditions. Diuretics, or water pills commonly prescribed for high blood pressure or swelling, intentionally drain fluid from your system. During a heat wave, combined with heavy sweating, these drugs rapidly accelerate dangerous dehydration while blunting your sense of thirst. Beta blockers, another massive class of blood pressure medications, directly reduce your capacity to sweat and limit the heart's ability to pump extra blood to the skin. Furthermore, anticholinergic medications found in over-the-counter allergy pills, sleep aids, antidepressants, and bladder control prescriptions can completely shut down your body's ability to produce sweat. You must never stop or skip your prescribed medications simply because the weather is hot, as doing so can trigger immediate life-threatening cardiovascular events. Instead, Recognize that these prescriptions place you at a higher risk level, requiring you to be far more aggressive about hydration and cooling than others. Before summer peak temperatures arrive, call your doctor or pharmacist to identify which of your daily medications impact heat tolerance and discuss if any dosage timing adjustments are necessary based on your specific medical history. The third mistake is waiting until you actively feel thirsty before drinking water. Throughout youth, thirst functions as a highly reliable alarm system, but this signal is among the very first internal systems to dull with age. The National Institute on Aging confirms that older adults feel significantly less thirst than younger individuals, even when their bodies are experiencing critical fluid depletion. By the time an older adult feels parched on a scorching afternoon, severe dehydration has already set in. Dehydration thickens your blood, drops blood pressure, strains the kidneys, overworks the heart, and dramatically increases the likelihood of dizziness, confusion, or a dangerous fall. You cannot use physical sensation as your guide. You must consume fluids on a strict schedule. Keep a water bottle within arm's reach and sip steadily throughout the entire day rather than chugging large amounts at once. Aim for at least 1 glass of water every hour during a heat alert. The easiest way to monitor your hydration status is by checking your urine color. A pale straw color indicates safety, while dark, concentrated urine means you are dangerously behind on fluids. If you are sweating heavily for multiple hours, plain water is not enough. Incorporate electrolyte solutions, juices, or light salty snacks to balance your body chemistry. Avoid alcohol and heavy caffeine, as both substances act as diuretics and actively strip water from your system. The fourth mistake is trusting your own perception to tell you when your home environment has become unsafe. Because indoor heat builds up gradually, degree by degree over a long afternoon, your brain adapts to the rising temperature without registering danger. You might feel slightly fatigued or sluggish and assume it is just normal summer tiredness, while the room around you has climbed past the limits of what your body can tolerate. Never trust a feeling when your internal alarms are structurally compromised. Trust objective numbers instead. Place a visible, inexpensive thermometer in your main living space. When the room temperature pushes past 85 degrees Fahrenheit, it is time to move to a cooler environment. Keep your home safe by closing blinds and curtains on the sunny side of the building during peak hours to block solar radiation. Because heat naturally rises, upstairs bedrooms are often several degrees hotter than the ground floor. Sleep and rest in the lowest room available. Shift all physical labor, yard work, and outdoor errands to the early morning hours or late evening, staying completely out of direct sunlight between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Finally, establish a formal daily check-in system. If you live alone, arrange for a neighbor, friend, or relative to call or visit you at least once every single day during a heat wave. If you know an older adult living nearby, knock on their door daily, as early intervention prevents preventable indoor tragedies. The fifth mistake is failing to recognize the distinct boundary between being overheated and entering a fatal medical emergency. Heat illness progresses through two specific stages, and knowing the difference saves lives. The first stage is heat exhaustion, which is your body's final warning signal while it can still recover easily. Symptoms include heavy sweating, cold and clammy skin, muscle cramps, dizziness, nausea, headaches, and a fast but weak pulse. If you see these signs, act immediately. Stop all activity, move to a cool or shaded area, lie down, loosen clothing, sip water, and apply cool, wet cloths directly to the neck, armpits, and groin where major blood vessels run near the. The second stage is heat stroke, which is a critical life-threatening emergency where internal body temperatures hit 104 degrees Fahrenheit or higher and the cooling system completely fails. The definitive warning signs include mental confusion, slurred speech, irrational behavior, hot and dry skin due to sweat shutdown, a pounding rapid pulse, throbbing headaches, and loss of consciousness. Families frequently mistake this mental confusion for simple fatigue or old age, which is a catastrophic error. At 104 degrees Fahrenheit, the body begins damaging its own internal organs and brain tissues. Call 911 immediately upon seeing these symptoms. While waiting for emergency personnel, move the person into air conditioning, place them in a cool bath, or wrap ice packs and cold towels tightly around their neck, armpits, and groin. Never attempt to pour water down the throat of a confused or unconscious person, as this creates an immediate choking hazard. Focus exclusively on external cooling. Let us review the 5 rules to stay safe this summer. Do not rely solely on fans when indoor temperatures exceed the mid-90s. Use air conditioning or wet your skin. Know your medications and consult your pharmacist about how your specific prescriptions alter heat tolerance. Drink water on a strict hourly schedule without waiting for the physical sensation of thirst. Trust an indoor thermometer over your personal feelings and establish a daily buddy check-in system. Learn to identify heat stroke instantly, especially mental confusion, and call 911 immediately. Every single one of these actions is a direct lever you control to protect yourself and your loved ones. If this factual breakdown was valuable to you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this information immediately with someone over 60 whom you care about. Stay safe in the heat and look out for those around you.